Hello everybody, and thanks for watching my video. Today I'm talking about counting calories. One of the allures to a low carb, high fat diet or a ketogenic diet is that many people say you don't really need to count calories. And to some extent this is true. Some people, just by cutting out processed carbohydrates, are going to lose weight, resolve some health issues, and really not need to do anymore. But then there's a lot of people that have serious health issues. They've gained a lot of weight for a long time and so on and so forth. And so they kind of have to take things a step further. And as much as I'd like to say that you get on this diet and then you just eat to your full, and that's it. That's the goal. There's no counting calories or whatever. That's not going to work for everybody. So, like a lot of things, it's probably a case by case basis. But I would suggest for most people that they learn to count the calories at least in the beginning and make a discipline of it. In a lot of general studies about weight loss, the only people who consistently lost weight were those who wrote down what they ate and kept good records. So it can't hurt. I mean, if you're really just trying not to have to do it, then don't do it. But it's a good idea. I definitely would. I did. I kept meticulous records for the first, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months, maybe longer. And I'm going to start doing it again, see if anything's different now. I kind of took a break when I went on vacation, and so didn't really get back in the full swing of it. I kept records on and off, but I think it's a very useful tool. If anything, most people, especially if you've got a lot of lose a lot of weight, let's say you got to lose 100 pounds, most people aren't going to lose that in 6 months or even a year. Some people, they need to lose 200 pounds or 400 pounds. That's going to take years. If you're cycling between eating and fasting and getting rid of all that excess skin or trying to, fasting can repair a lot of damage. It can reabsorb the excess skin. I probably touched on this before, but like when you saw the people on The Biggest Loser, they work really hard, they're on calorie restriction, they get a lot of exercise, and they have lots of loose skin, and then they have surgery and have it removed. And then after they're off the show, almost all of them regain the weight. Well, if you're going to do this long term, and it's not about caloric restriction all the time, but you're going to fast, that fasting will reabsorb that skin and it'll go away. It doesn't necessarily make stretch marks completely disappear, although they seem to fade, but it does other things like, fade your age spots. I wish I had pictures of the age spots on my hands. You can barely see some of them on my arms too. Some of them are very close to disappearing altogether, and some of them are about halfway there. But there's also removes skin tags and stuff like that. They seem to disappear. Your body recycles all that, and then there's all kinds of stuff going on internally. Now, counting calories is somewhat controversial. I mean, this is a selling point on ketogenic and low carb diets. Is that, oh yeah, you don't need to count calories. It's like it's easier because you don't have to count calories. So it's controversial, and not everybody agrees on it, and arguably not everybody would need to do it. Um, I think if anything, you want to do it because you want to know what you're eating, right? I'm a believer in counting your macronutrients, and getting finding out what ratio works for you. Just like I think it's important to know what caloric intake works for you. I would think most people logically would know that keeping records doesn't hurt. A lot of people have early success just by cutting processed carbohydrates or cutting down carbohydrates in general, and they lose a ton of weight and then they hit a plateau. And they're like, well, what do I do? Well, if you don't really know what you've been eating, it's kind of hard to make adjustments with any certainty, right? When you keep records of how many calories you're eating, you can compare it to your levels of hunger or how frequently you eat, and then you can correlate that with your activity levels, because most people don't have the same activity levels every day or even every week. So once you can put it down on paper, you can sort of draw the lines between what you eat, how active you are, and what the results are. People are notorious for bad data. Study after study, when they ask people to write down what they eat, they ask them how much they ate or whatever, they report it falsely. Some of that is just bias. Some of that's just lack of honesty. Some of it is just not understanding what they're eating or how much they're eating of it. But when they do studies where they make people take a picture of everything they eat, or they give them everything they eat, then they get real data that makes real sense. So I think people in general are just kind of lazy and delusional. So keeping track of your food takes practice, and it could be really important later. So you might as well get the practice in now and be proficient at it, have a system in place, have a habit in place, then having a problem later where you need to really buckle down, break a plateau, or really focus on a health issue, or really achieve some sort of fitness goal, and then not have the skill set. It takes discipline for sure, but I mean, who doesn't want to be able to develop some discipline that they can rely on? And of course, in a general sense, it's about self-knowledge. It's about knowing yourself better, knowing what you need better, knowing what you're capable of. Those are all very powerful things that you can do for yourself, and they don't really have to cost you anything. There's lots of apps out there. I don't have a lot of experience with any apps. I did mine old school on a spreadsheet. I know that's new school to some people, but I just use a spreadsheet. But I'm going to start experimenting with apps on the smartphone, see how that goes, if anything, so I can talk to other people about it. I think keeping records, like counting calories, helps you stay engaged, keeps your head in the game, and it promotes internal honesty. I mean, a lot of people failing at diets for one reason or another lack internal honesty. The reason why they're not sticking to their diet, or the fact that they're not having success, and they're not addressing the fact that they're not sticking to it. It often comes down to internal honesty. So, and I think, having a calorie count is a whole nother thing about putting this in context. Because you could hear all kinds of numbers about how much a person is supposed to eat or not eat, or whatever, what's healthy, what's restrictive, what's not restrictive. But until you quantify it in your own terms, how do you really know? So once again, I'd like to thank you for watching my video. I hope this helps somebody out there, and you can help me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. And I sincerely hope that this improves things for other people.